question that was something I really wanted to touch on. So I'm really glad that she remembered. My brain kind of like got lost somewhere. But anyway, it's back. So once you find people on Instagram that you're following, that you're interested in connecting with, that you think would make a good client or a good coach, I do kind of make sure that, so I add them to a list that I keep that just basically is similar to my Power 5, but it's more like people I'm connecting with just through Instagram. I keep it separate. And I make sure that I'm commenting on their posts daily, commenting on their pictures or whatever it is that they're posting. I do personally message them. So I don't know if you guys knew this, but Instagram does have a personal message option in the top right-hand corner from your cell phone. And it looks like a little mailbox. And you may even have messages in there, because I did when I first learned that it even existed. And obviously, you're right, Jenny mentioned there's a lot of spammers on there. It's hard to tell who's real and who's not. I pretty much only connect with people through that message that I instigate the connection. I don't really connect. I haven't had any good leads from people reaching out to me. Because you have to be really careful with Instagram, because there's so many people on there, and there are a lot of spammers, and there's a lot of people who are looking for, from other competing organizations, just looking to get tips from you, looking to waste your time. And I don't really know why people think that that's funny. It's not funny. I don't know what their enjoyment is, but you get it. I mean, people just want to waste your time. So be really careful who you are connecting with. Make sure it's somebody that you're following pretty regularly, pretty closely, and then ask them to follow you on Facebook. Ask them to follow your fitness page, whatever it might be, and then message them through those means. And if they are a good candidate, they'll usually follow through with those steps. I usually send them a message really similar to a message that I would send to anybody else who I thought would be a good coach. I have gotten one coach off of Instagram, which, I mean, I'm not sure that it's going to be something that's going to work long term, or what the success rate is. I don't know if anybody else has done that, but I have messaged a girl. I was following her. She's a fellow mom, found her interesting, liked all of her posts, commented on her a lot, her journey, and then just really shared with her how she was doing exactly, what I'm doing as a coach, and she wasn't getting paid for it like I would through Facebook. And she was interested, and we continued to message until she just recently signed up as a coach. So that was the only successful coach that I've gotten off Instagram, but I haven't been doing it that long either. So I have been messaging multiple people and gotten some pretty good responses. But like I said, only messaging people that I actively follow, you can't really tell if you feel like you can trust someone, I guess, through the internet, but that you see what they're posting on the regular, and they're an actual real live account, not people who I'm just responding to when they're messaging me. Like, you get all kinds of brand reps and things like that that'll start messaging you, but I've never really followed through with any of those people. Does that kind of answer your question, Jenny? You're still muted.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't.
It's okay. Yeah.
I have this one. Yeah, it does answer the question. I had heard before that a lot of times people don't see their messages, so I wasn't sure whether it was worth like bothering to try to contact people that way. And then somebody on one of the calls who did Instagram a lot said to comment on people's stuff and try to engage them in the comments on your pictures. And I've only been able to connect with a couple of people that seem like potential that I would want to work with. And I did that, and they never got back to me in any way. And so I was just I kind of have given up on trying to make friends on there, because
it's definitely harder.
Likes my stuff constantly, and she's a totally normal person that but I try to message her and and it just went nowhere, but she just keeps liking my stuff all the time. So I'm like, okay, well,
I know that what some coaches do to get them is they, in the comment section, say at Landis Fitness, email me at, this is my email. And then, or let's connect through email, or let's connect on Facebook, and then put the site in there. Mm-hmm. And then you can move them over. I would move them to your email so you can get them on the email list.
Yeah.
But if you just do at Jenny Hobbs, contact me at landisfitness@gmail.com, and then use your email. And then I know that a lot of other coaches will drop your email in the comment section, and I'll email you the details, because the message box, I didn't know there was one. And then when I opened it up, it was spam, and I think I had a marriage proposal in there, and just band and crap. And I was like, yeah, that's not really great.
Yeah.
So I've just been trying to move them to email, and that seems to work.
Yeah, I guess I need to focus and pare down my list and know who I'm looking at, I think, more, because it must just be a numbers thing. Because whenever I've done it, they don't message me, they don't email me, and I'm like, okay, I give up.
I did want to mention, I did pay for followers. I did hire an Instagram person, and it was a nightmare. If you do it, make sure you vet them. I hired someone in the States, and they subcontracted it to someone in a different country, and I sounded like an idiot when I was commenting on things. And then I had a bunch of boys following me, which freaked me out. So, it was just crazy. So I would just, if you hire someone, I've heard it can work really well. Just make sure that you see who their references are and things like that, because it was a nightmare for me. And I actually had to pay someone to clean it up. A lot of money.
Oh. So with the messenger thing, I agree with Tanya. Obviously try and get them over to email is great. I think I need to push harder at getting them to email versus Facebook. And then I usually leave them a comment. If it's somebody who's actively liking my stuff or actively responding to my comments on their pictures, if they're like, oh, thanks at Glazer Fitness, I usually leave them a comment saying hey, I sent you a PM, check your box, or email me at, or something along those lines. So I usually just, if they're not responsive, I usually try and reach them through one of their posts they're responding to me on, and kind of tag them in that post. So I don't know if that would help, but I also, sorry, my husband started working nights tonight, and somebody's knocking on my door. I'm just going to ignore it right now. So anyway, my dogs are barking. I don't know if you can hear that. So as far as other questions, does anybody else have any other questions that I can answer? Maybe get you the answers that you were hoping to get. I'm going to open up. Oh, I guess, can I?
I have tons of questions, so I don't want to take over, but I have more.
Okay. You can ask questions. It's totally fine.
Okay. So, one of my questions is, do you use similar hashtags? How we can make hashtagging faster? Because for me, one thing I have trouble with Instagram is I'm already posting all these other places. Sorry, my son's supposed to be vacuum cleaner, so that's what's happening. Anyway, so do you keep for a while I was doing a block of all my common hashtags and just copy pasting it into the comments.
Right.
The tips on making that process faster.
Okay, so for me, that's what I'm doing. I'm basically using the similar hashtags, and I'm copying, once I get them down, I copy them into my notepad, and then I paste them again the next time. And they're kind of something that's always copied. And I can just hit paste. It's almost the last thing I always am copying. So that's my biggest tip, unless you're using that Tags for Likes app that I just mentioned. Yeah, Evernote is my notepad that I use. Tanya just said copy them into Evernote. So that's the notepad that I use when I'm copying them over. But if you're using the Tags for Likes thing, then you can definitely just copy that entire thing and use it. But if you have your own list of hashtags you're using like I do, that's my biggest recommendation. That's the only way I know how to make it faster as of right now, and it seems to work pretty well for me. But be careful, because there's a hashtag limit, and it's so annoying when you try and add one too many hashtags and then it blocks you out. I'm not sure what the hashtag limit is. Does anybody know? No, I know that I've hit it a couple times, but any other questions?
Yeah, real quick, Tanya, what was the name of the Android version of Tags for Likes? I couldn't hear you the first time.
I'm going to text you the
Oh,
picture of it.
Thank you.
Because I took a screenshot of it. So
Okay.
I'm going to text it to you and Rosanna. Does
Perfect.
anybody else have an Android on here, or is everybody iPhone users? Kelly has an Android? Okay. 1 second here. Why don't I just I'll upload it to Team 3. Oh, Taylor, you Android people, you. No, just kidding. Let me just upload a picture of it to Team 360. And then that way you got all the Android users can, oh, Brandon. Guys, where's my iPhone people? Just kidding. So that way you guys can go ahead and just go into your, because you guys use Google Play, is that right? Is that where your app store is? Old eyes can't. Rosanna. So I'll put the picture in there so you guys know where it is. I'll do that right now. Android. Okay. Okay, it's going in there right now, you guys. Any other questions? Jenny, you got more questions?
Yeah, I have lots, but I don't want to monopolize.
That's good. I was hoping people would have questions. I mean, I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
I did. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I have two more I can think of right off the top. But so one is in terms of location. I've heard that it's good to like tag a location, but I don't know. Like for example, my house, I could put Seattle. I could put my neighborhood of Seattle. I could put like a park that's by my house. Like you know what I mean? Like obviously, if I'm like at a Starbucks, it's easier because that's a more common place. But I don't know if there's any like if you know much about like whether it's whether it be specific or more general or you know.
So for me, pretty much any articles that I've read on it don't talk a lot about the importance of location. So I only use location when I'm at those key places like Starbucks or the movie theater or whatever. But that's more like my personal safety issue. I just don't like saying like, you know, Oregon City, Oregon, or whatever. I just don't want people knowing, I guess, quite that much about me on Instagram. So I definitely use certain locations, but for the most part, I don't. Does anybody else have anything they could speak to that? Tanya, you've been on Instagram a long time. I don't know if you have.
Yeah, I do PDX, like for Portland. I don't live in Portland. I live in Oregon City, but there's no way I'm tagging Oregon City. I mean, first of all, Oregon, you know, I tag PDX or PDX Runner, or I'll tag Portland, or if I'm at like a landmark, I'll tag that. So when I was in Europe, I obviously tagged like Rome and France and like things like that, but I wouldn't tag my home. And that is because I had a girl on Facebook that I went apparently to high school with who was a creeper. It wasn't somebody I met through the business. It was a girl from high school, and I tagged somewhere I was with my kids, and she didn't do anything. It just creeped me out. But so I'll tag like the general area. So Jenny, I would tag Seattle. I would do like Seattle or Pacific Northwest Fitness. You know, I would do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And just, you know, and with whatever you're comfortable with. I just do Portland. I mean, really, people don't know Oregon City that well, and I pretty much know a lot of the people in Oregon City. So
yeah, I think it's just like where I live, there's like neighborhoods, you know, so if you live in like Ballard, you know, it's like a subset of Seattle.
I know Ballard neighborhood is a big deal. So you could tag Ballard. I mean,
it's like a place that people go out to and stuff. But on the other hand, like, I mean, I think it's so big that it's not a safe
your neighborhood. There's no way they're going to find that house.
It's not. Yeah. So plus we have ADT, so we're good. No, but I should probably be more careful about stuff like that. So that's a good point. So can I ask one more question?
Yes, please.
Okay. So length of text for your photos. I feel like there's a different culture on Instagram in terms of that, and obviously, like Instagram forces that because you can't make a new paragraph very easily.
Yeah.
I try to do this thing these people do with a weird period to replace a line, but then it never looks right when I'm done with it.
Same.
So I don't know. So I try to take some of my coaching posts and things from Facebook and use them, but they end up looking weird because the text is so long. So I don't know if you have any tips or thoughts about length.
So for me, I would say like 9 out of 10 of your posts should be underneath like one paragraph, like maybe 4 lines max as far as like what it shows up on Instagram. I've noticed those gauge really well with audiences. I do still post some pretty lengthy coaching posts, like 1 out of every 10 maybe. Actually, probably since I do about 3 to 4 posts a day, it's probably more like 1 out of every like 50 that I do a really long one like that. Maybe 1 a week where it's pretty long and in depth. However, sometimes I do end up just, going off about my blessings or, something major that has happened. As long as you're not doing it all the time, I haven't noticed a big issue. I do notice though that the higher engagement comes with the shorter posts. But I think that people also really enjoy when you're real with them. So I think it's important that you sometimes add a little bit more in depth. They connect with you. At least for me, those are the accounts I follow, the ones where they are being honest and they're talking about their depression or whatever it is that takes a little bit longer time for them to post it out. So I would recommend that. And then also for details, if you're doing any kind of Instagram contest, which I highly recommend holding contests on Instagram. People really respond well to contests. If you're doing any kind of contest, definitely link them out what the expectation is, what they're going to win, why you're able to do the contest. I get a lot of traction on those posts where people want to know how I can do these contests, B, what they need to do to enter them, and see what their odds are of winning, and kind of who I am. So, definitely on contest posts, I give a little bit more information. Anybody else? Or do you have any more? Any
I think
other
your questions are great, Jenny, because there are things I would probably think of after we get off the call. And then I'll be like,
I've been like hitting my head against the wall of Instagram for like 3 years. So I'm like,
that's because we're a little older than the Instagram.
we are. We're too old. That's what I decided. I was like, I'm too old for Instagram. I'm a Facebook old lady now. Sierra already told me that. She's like, my friends don't post in your groups. I think it's because she's like trying to figure out how to politely tell me like you're an old married lady and they're like young single girls.
Share your Instagram on your other social networks. If you're in any other diet groups or any other community boards, if you're active in them, people love to connect on Instagram. And the other tip that I have is add them to your, make sure it's on your email signature. Every email you have, put your Instagram on there. I've like emailed somebody once, like a lead. Sometimes one time I'll just shoot them an email and they haven't even responded to me yet. And then in their response, they say, I'm already following you on Instagram and I went to your Facebook and liked it or whatever. So, it's crazy like how, if you make it easy for people, they'll find you. But the other thing is to make sure that you're promoting your Instagram, like with your other people that you're helping with transformations. So transformations like are a huge deal. So share their transformations. Then they're going to want to share it with their friends that they're on your Instagram, and their friends are going to follow you. So if you know somebody, feature them. I've started a Feature Friday and I've seen my followers increase dramatically because I'm just putting it out there to like my networks. Hey, if you guys follow me and you're active, I want to feature people. And they look at my number of followers and they say, oh, well, I want to be featured on that many followers. So I'm going to follow her. And, featuring people, showing off their transformations, that's a huge way to gain followers and gain likes. And then also just to really meet really cool people if you're in it for that too. Any other questions?
I missed just a hair there. When you're talking about featuring on Instagram, you're just mostly talking about featuring people you're working with as a transformation?
Yes, and I also feature other, so Jenny, when you were asking, this could come in handy if you're trying to connect with somebody who you think has what it takes to be a coach. Sometimes I'll feature someone like that. Like, hey, this hardworking mom, da 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 da, or I send them a message if they're not super responsive. Do you mind if I feature you on my site? I'm really impressed with your transformation, or I'm really impressed with your healthy recipes. And then it really gets them connected to you, and then they're interested in what you have to say, and then they want to talk to you a little bit more. Obviously, make sure it's not like an Advocare coach or somebody that you have to watch out. They're sneaky. I don't know if you guys have dealt with some of those people MetaFast, but these different coaches out there. I feel like I'm always just so open, like, this is what I do. I don't know how people hide it, but so just make sure it's somebody you trust. But I do definitely feature people who are not on my team, because it's really just about giving shout outs for hardworking people. I don't want it to look like it's just all about my team and my business, because then it's, then I'm not really reaching outside the scope of what I'm already helping and touching. Any other questions?
Anybody? This was awesome, Kirsten. Thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge. And I like your Instagram. It's great. And I definitely have a thing or two to learn. So I think that the thing that you have to realize, everybody, is that Instagram it's a different type of social media than Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't follow the same guidelines, and what works sometimes, like, I'll do the same post and I get tons of traction on one and nothing on the other, and vice versa. It just seems like it's so they're so different. So it's great because you can attract different people on each. And a lot as coaches and business owners, we do need to be on multiple platforms, not so many that you're so extended, but I would recommend really focusing in on at least 2 platforms. So besides Facebook, you could do Facebook and Instagram, or, LinkedIn or Twitter. Don't ask me about Twitter. I have no idea. It'll be one of my other ones I learn. But I think that focusing on them and getting really good at them, so you can provide quality. And then once you're good at it, you can add another social media site. So I always suggest getting an email, because if the site goes down, you have their email. So always build your email list. So keep their email and put it into your notes or however you track your people, but always get their email address. I always do that.
I just realized one last tip. I don't know. I forgot to mention this, I think. But in your Instagram profile, you can change the link from your website to whatever. You can change it as many times as you want. You can go into your profile and edit the actual. You're only allowed to have one clickable link in your Instagram profile. But you can go in and change it. So if you're doing a contest, or if you're doing an accountability group or anything like that, I always recommend changing that, because you can't have active links in Instagram posts. You can type out www.klazerfitness.com, but nobody can click it. So if you want them to go to Klazer Fitness to enter, you'll need to put it in the top and reference clickable link in my bio, or click the link in my bio. I highly recommend that, because Instagram makes it really hard for people to leave Instagram and find you somewhere else.
Which is funny, because doesn't Facebook, they own Instagram, right?
Yeah, so you can do ads that now carry over to Instagram through Facebook.
Yeah, they have super strict ad guidelines too.
Yep.
So, perfect. Thank you, everybody. This is going to come up in 2 separate recordings, but you guys were already here. So, Kirsten, will you upload the recording that you did, and then I'll go in and upload this half as well.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. And great job. This is Kirsten's first call that she's led as a diamond leader. And I think it's pretty awesome, because she just started like December 30th.
I promise next time I'll be more put together.
No, you did great.
All put together, but I got a little bit nervous. I'm glad it was all of you faces that I recognize and like.
No, we understand. The team has to put up with my technology limitations, which are, there's a lot of them. I can't tell you how many times I've had technical problems. So I'm going, in fact, I'm headed to the Genius store tomorrow. So if you try to email me or call me between the hours of 12 and 2, I can't talk because Apple will be repairing my computer and my iPhone. So super fun. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful night. And I hope to see you all on Instagram. If you want to follow Kirsten, I would highly recommend it. It's Kleiser Fitness, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can follow her. And I'm at Landis Fitness. Just, if you want to kind of check out ours, I do have a very different profile on Instagram than I do on Facebook. So, all right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Guys.